My name is Derk Loeks. I'm checking in from Earth Island at Solhälla, Svenshögen, on the west coast of Sweden. Outside the window where I'm sitting is a chicken tractor filled with chickens that already here in March have started to get a little bit too warm. They were complaining a little while ago. Cool us down and give us some water. And we're next to a large body of water, Solhälla, which is, I believe, the second deepest lake in all of Sweden, and perhaps one of the largest or the second largest amount of species diversity in the lake. It's a remarkable area. I wanted to speak about planetary design and navigation. One of my childhood heroes, Buckminster Fuller, completely blew my mind as a kid by saying that we actually had everything we need to feed, clothe, educate, and usefully employ every person alive on spaceship Earth. I loved both the idea that we had everything that it takes right now. There wasn't some new technology that needed to be discovered. There wasn't a new breakthrough that had to happen. That was all here. Not only here as resource, but here as human understanding. And I also love the idea of spaceship Earth. That here we are on this incredible life capsule, hurtling around the sun, that is hurtling around the galaxy, that is hurtling around the mega clusters of galaxy, on and on. Then I started to think about that in addition to those feeding and clothing and educating and usefully employing, what about actually navigating spaceship Earth? What does it mean to navigate an entire planetary system? My father was a navigator, and one of the things that he taught me was that navigation is basically knowing where you are, knowing where you want to go, and taking reference points, check-ins along the way, how we get there. So part of where we are is a planetary system that is as Fuller described, and it's also a planetary system in various states of breakdown. So we want to navigate from breakdown to breakthrough. And one of my ways of describing what that breakthrough is Paradise Earth. A place where there is such a beautiful cooperation and balance among all species as there is already, and yet one of the species, ours, that holds so much of the planet in our hands is actively engaged in designing and unveiling and building and living in this state of maximum aliveness and balance. So when we talk about navigation, it could be very easy to think about often when we're on a large airplane or on a boat crossing the ocean that we want to leave that to the experts, which makes a lot of sense. But there's a time, and I've seen this, and I've talked to other people who've been there in similar situations, there's a time when a boat is in crisis and everybody gets involved. So I think that we're in a situation where planetary navigation is something that isn't left to the government, and it's not even left to the governmental organizations or the non-governmental organizations, and it's not even left to the experts. It's probably a deeply heart-based navigation. And that heart-based navigation is going to happen wherever there's good hearts that want to lend a hand. So a planetary navigation will of course involve a lot of high information-rich decision-making about how do we source power and how do we source energy and how do we source food, what do we do with education, what about finance. There's a lot of highly technical levels to it. But I think there's also a lot of very deeply personal dimension to it. And part of that personal dimension is involved with what I call place. There's a transition that we're making from site or location. As in restoration ecology, we talk about a project site, which basically can be described in terms of GPS coordinates. But we're going to a sense of place that is so rich and so deeply enveloping and interdependent. And place is magical. So place, how do we navigate to place? Many of the navigators in ancient cultures had an intuitive understanding of this when they would launch on large ocean voyages or great cross-country journeys, or even today, sacred migrations are done with an understanding of, yeah, we need to find this special place that we're going to. And when I've been on parts of some of those migrations, those pilgrimages, I guess you could say, when I'd say, where are we going? They might say, well, we're going right over there to that mountain. But how are we going to get there? Well, we don't know how we're going to get there. We don't even know where the mountain is. Well, what do you mean you don't know where the mountain is? You just pointed it out. Well, we don't know where it is. We have to find it. That's a description of place. They're finding an experience of the mountain. They're finding a relationship with the mountain. They're finding a magic, a specialness, a interconnection. There's 1,000 words we could use to describe it. But to really understand that our homes and the places where we work and the highways that we travel on and the train tracks that we're part of our 21st century migration patterns, that all of that can be converted from site, which is rather flat, to the tremendously interwoven relationship of place, moving from place to place, from the richness of that. And I think that's the way in which each of us as individuals really finding our sacred path from here to there, and that sacred path is not limited to a sense of purpose and meaning inside of ourselves. It actually also refers to on the ground travel, on the ground living in the beautiful places of our planet. This is something that each of us engaged in this, actually even thinking in the morning, how do I find the most perfect bed in the home that I already know where my home is, I already know where the bedroom is, I already know where the bed is located next to that door between this bookcase. How do I find the most alive and beautiful bed tonight? I know where the one is located in location and site. How do I find the one in place? How do I find that when I go to the office? How do I find that with my dinner with my family? How do I find that taking my child to school? A complete whole system, whole body engagement with the unveiling of place, the navigation to the best of place that we can find. So I really appreciate your time. I kind of talked quite a while here. Thank you for your time.